I was very touched by everything that's gone on before, because once again, when I've come here, I feel like Meisha Sama has arranged who's speaking, and it all flows together. So I am so grateful to be here. As many of you know, I am dedicated to the light. I'm dedicated to the life of the light, and I'm dedicated to the transformation of our planetary family. And the cause has brought me to the shores of Meisha Sama and the great teachings that he has left with us. So I'm going to use a PowerPoint, and I recognize that a lot of people back there probably can't see it. Let's put it up here and see. Whoops. I might need technical help here. I like to think I don't, but let's see. I think I'm there. Yeah? I'm there. Except that's the end. So how do I get back to the beginning, guys? Oh, never mind. Just be patient with me a little bit. This is one of my themes, by the way. Okay. So we're here to explore that each of you is unlimited. And even more so, we are unlimited, as you said. Okay, so is that going to be okay?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. So I want to dedicate my remarks to Meisha Sama and to the Koyama family and to all the families throughout humanity, and not just human families, that have added to the cause of us being a life-affirming community on our earth. So, I'm going to read Meisha Sama's quote. You can't see back there, can you? No, I don't think so. If we seriously intend to improve humanity, we must create a new self, a second self. This is the second birth, which we all need to step into. See that little baby right there? Maybe you can't see it, but that is you, and that is me. We are working to be something else than we already are. So my interest in this is that I ask this question, and it's what this whole presentation is about. Is Meisha Sama's teaching preparing us for the evolution of the human body? The body itself, we know, is changing. For the first time in history, we understand that our DNA, that's the core of what we are, can be changed through thoughts, through meditation. The DNA changes. So let's claim the history that we just heard about, all that has gone before us. Yesterday we started with a big bang, right? Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, let's say bang. 1, 2, 3, bang! The stardust spreads out and arrives as us. Everything on this planet is made of the stardust of the first Big Bang. That says that each of us is very ancient, more ancient than we can comprehend. We have the universe as us. Then, like the light, see this beautiful comet coming to the earth? We are also young earthlings. No matter what your age is, you are both ancient and young. That's the part that is unlimited when they come together. The future and the wisdom of the ancients. So I say we were born and make our home in the vastness, the great vastness. Oh, I don't want to join the comfort. started jumping back there. Why did I do that? Okay. So as you can see, every single one of us was born swimming in water, right? We came out of the waters. If we go out into space, we need to be tethered again. We need to take the waters with us. But that tethering is to something deeper. That tethering is to the essence of what we are. And although Meishu-sama tells us we are beings of light, most of us do not believe we are completely unlimited. So I'm going to share a cartoon. This is Hobbs. He's out looking at the stars and he goes, "I'm significant!" Then he looks again and says, "Screamed the speck of dust." A good friend of mine visited Africa, and there where he was, there were no artificial lights. And he lay back on the ground and looked up, and he said, "The stars began at the end of my nose." It was endless. And at first I was just overwhelmed by the beauty. And then I was scared. It meant I meant nothing. And this is the contrast we can all feel. Oftentimes when we go to our unlimited natures, we immediately get scared and drop into our worries, our plans for the next day, our concerns. We're scared of just being totally at home in the vastness we were born into. Now that's supposed to be Meishu-sama on the edge of the universe with the child. Can you see that edge of the universe? And there's a man speaking to a child. Meishu-sama and other great teachers tell us a very different story about who we are. Meishu-sama says we are light beings. We have the capacity to heal each other. We can transform our challenges, very part of our difficulties, into our joys. Each of us can live as heaven right here on earth. Meishu-sama invites us to claim our unlimited nature. I love this theme. Thank you, youth, for offering it to us. Okay, we're going to look at science. Now, the truth is, we're all stardust. But science is showing us stardust actually has particles, right? It's actually matter. 38% of your body is made of matter. 53% is made of water. And yet we think we're solid. Remember that we are stardust. And we are made of this earth. Everything around us is made of the same thing. So I'm going to have us do a few things, and I'm saying we're joining the big circle of life. So without anything else, just take your hand, everybody out in front, and we make a big circle. We're not going to say anything. We're joining the circle of life. We're loving our earth. Okay, ready? We're joining the circle of life. We're loving our earth. Our earth. We are earth. Let's not forget that. We're earth-shaped like human beings walk around. This is earth-shaped like a bench. Everything. So, my question is based on, is Meishu-sama and his teacher teaching, preparing us for a shift in the human body itself to a light body, where what we identify with is our photons, our capacity to be light, our capacity. Do you know how fast light travels? Our capacity to move with our awareness, our consciousness, our soul, through time. And when we do Jorei, we are beaming Meishu-sama's light, but where does that light come from? Or as a good spiritual teacher friend of mine said, don't thank me for my spiritual words. Thank what inspired me. So we have this principle that light descends, right? You ready? Put your arms out here. What if we call this? We call this Shoujo. Everybody. Shoujo. Okay. Shoujo. Okay. This time, as we practiced yesterday, I want you to feel that light descending through your head, down, all the way down your body, opening your heart. This is your commitment. I'm a light being. Okay, ready? Arms up, everybody ready. Shoujo. One more time. Shoujo. Okay, I'm going to step into a different body. A body that is made of light. A body that has awareness that time is not what it seems. And I want to say something because someone said to me, you're too young. These people are too young to talk like this. Not on your life. I happen to believe that you, and I'll go through this, are right now actually creating different bodies, the young ones here. What we know from science is your thoughts, like Meishu-sama said, are physical. This was proved at MIT in the early, about 1995. Monkeys could control a cursor on their computer with just their thoughts. That began a whole new field of building, if you lost your arm, getting people to be able to use their arms with their thoughts. That's still being worked on. We know from quantum physics, reality isn't what it seems. Reality is non-local, meaning, hey, everybody that came from Japan, there's a lot of you here. We meshed, we created together. When you go way back to Japan, in the quantum world, you're still part of us. You haven't left us. In the quantum world, if something is moving after it's been separated, I've got A and B. If B turns to the right, A turns to the right. Even if they were in Florida or Japan, no matter how far apart they are, they're forever together. I was privileged to work with a lot of scientists that did studies that absolutely prove that you can see what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what to do with these facts yet. But I suggest to you that you young people will. We know that everything is connected. We're going to look at a big aspen grove, and it looks like all separate trees like we do. But it has one root system. And I'm suggesting to you, our root system is light itself. It's the stardust of the universe. You are unlimited. We are unlimited. So we claim our light self in Shunei through Jorei. Meishu-sama teaches us, like many spiritual teachers do not, basically had people that could only do Jorei at the top level or heal at the top level. But Meishu-sama said every single one of us, every single human being is a light being that can heal. Pretty big message. And I wanted to show you, we focus here, and Roy has done such an incredible job of how this third eye, as some people would call it, but the middle of our forehead, actually affects things in our brain and the chemistry and the hormones. If we need the physical. But look at what a Native American, do you see that? Look at how they've enforced the power of the wisdom of this same spot. Some of you probably can't see it too far. Then the Egyptians, have you ever seen those things that they have a little snake that comes here? That also is located as if there's another eye, the eye of consciousness. And because there's so much misunderstanding about Islam, I put this image, you've probably all seen, everybody hold your hand up. Okay, this is the symbol that the Muslims use. And guess where an eye is? Right in the middle. What do we do with your eye? Right in the middle. So we're looking at, as my friend said, the universal teaching. And we're getting the chance to open up ourselves to be universal, space-occupied light beings. Also, we use the top of the head, the crown. The crown comes to the pineal gland, and that's another very important gland in the brain. There's a lot of research on the brain, by the way. So I just wanted you to see our canon, which Meisha Sama teaches us. You see his wonderful crown, and all the canons have fabulous crowns, don't they? Right? And then here's a Christian image. Jesus has a great crown. But here's a real photo. Can you see back there? This is the Earth with the northern lights as a crown. Isn't that an amazing photo? It's a real photo. It's a real photo. So we do have to ask, because we're not sure if we're, the whole planet could be spiritualized. So Eugene says, is that a real photo? Eugene says, yes, it's a real photo. And I'd love to share some more real photos. But what I wanted to mention to the young people, particularly here, you have to remember that we are in the midst of this huge paradigm change. Let's just take communication. For thousands and thousands of years, human beings began by carving on stone to communicate to the next generations or to each other. Then came papyrus that I know of. But I think it probably came spontaneously with bamboo, which the Asian culture used. I just saw a TV show where they found old bamboo history, so they knew exactly what had happened in a tomb. So communication was based on plants, right? See all these plants for thousands of years. Of course, way back, it was stones. But today, only about 30 years out of thousands, we've moved to electricity as our communication form. Now, what impact does that have on the body? I suggest to you, this could be totally just Sharon's concept, but I believe all of you who were born after the Earth was seen from space for the first time in 1969 were born into the Earth in a different way than all of us who had never seen the Earth. We grew up just looking locally at the Earth, or maybe from a plane. We never saw way back in space, hey, we're a big planet. Every one of you that was born with that has something deeper in the understanding of what space is, in my opinion. And I also believe those of you who are born and are so easy, like we saw yesterday, 800,000 young people with older people supporting them. 800,000 showed up on the mall in Washington, D.C. to beg for a change. 42 days ago, nobody was going to be there. Get that? 42 days ago. Do you know how long Martin Luther King planned the thing on the mall? That's who you young people are. You communicate like that. You move with electric power and rhythm. You need to claim your unlimited self. It wasn't just in Washington, D.C. Over 1 million people around the world said gun violence is no good. It's not just the United States, it needs to be cleared up everywhere. So, but I also want to say something about, I just want you to be aware, young people, and older people too, or maybe we need to be more aware. This is a huge transition using electronics and basically plus minus, either or, to communicate, and minerals. So here's some very important research for young teens and people in their 20s right now. The more social networking and time on the computer, the greater your chance for clinical, that doesn't mean just once in a while you feel bad, but clinical, uncontrollable depression and anxiety. Everybody hear that? So it's up to us as new human beings, and especially you coming into a new body, to move with intelligence and recognize that we are in the midst of our bodies changing and our bodies dealing with the electronics we're exposed to. Make sure you get out in nature. Make sure you talk to your friends. Make sure you spend some time with your eyes looking at a distance. These things are small things, but they change you. And as your light body grows, as your spiritual consciousness grows, you are in fact becoming more aware of not just what we know physically, but beyond the physical dimension. Another thing I ask myself, and this is the part of the question, is, I want to go back to that one, is Jorei helping us? Not just because of the power that it has to heal and to help, but is Meisha-sama asking us to step into our light bodies and fully claim them and utilize them for care and for healing? Is he preparing our body to be different? I personally think the answer is yes, but I'm not going to impose it. But I want you to ask for it. So, we talked about accepting our accepting our light bodies, but Meisha-sama also teaches us that we have to accept the physical form. So we have Daijo, and then we have, Shoujo, and then we have Daijo. Okay, everybody ready? We're going to do that one more time, and we're going to move right on here. Ready? Now, we're taking it down again. Shoujo, Daijo. Okay, Shoujo, Daijo. Okay, we need to claim both those things. And I'm going to say to you, it's your ancient self, that's the light being, and it's your young self that's here on earth in this particular moment with all the ancestors and all the histories and everything that has preceded that. So we need to claim our light self and our earth self. And to do so, we want to ask ourselves, what kind of body do we want? Here's some images. We want one that is capable of supporting our purpose, our happiness, our service, and our spiritual growth. Those are the bodies we choose. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So, one thing we know is that to be unlimited and to have these bodies, we must nourish our bodies differently. Have you ever heard of biophotons? Who's heard of biophotons here? Roy, you would have heard of biophotons. Okay, biophotons are little emissions of light. And a man named Albert Fritz Popp, who was very interested in light, he studied this in Germany, and what he discovered, everybody knew, our bodies are emitting. Do you know that you're emitting light right now? Your biophotons are emitting light, little tiny photons of light. And he's the one who discovered that it looks like our DNA is where those photons are coming from. That means at the core of ourselves, we're little light beings. Well, what does that say about when we start changing our DNA? It's a good thing, Roy and I had a conversation, if you eat wild food, food that has not been touched by humanity, that has developed, you have more biophotons coming into you than any other kind of food. And Roy pointed out to me, you also have antioxidants that are very good for you. The next kind of food that's really important is organic food. Organic food still gives off biophotons, quite a lot of them. Conventional food does not. No surprise, right? Usually because whatever biophotons are there are deteriorated by the time it gets to your plate. So it's important to choose to eat right because you are restoring your biophotons, your light being. And natural agriculture has a purest, I believe, of the organic food. Now, I looked and looked to see what is the effect of light and restoration, because our teaching is beauty is important. The only thing I found is the optogenetics that are being used, which is light itself. Light itself is being used where we would do a heart surgery, for example, and we would cauterize it with zinc heat. Now we're using light. Light is as powerful in the purification of the wound as cauterizing. So I have a feeling that beauty, and this is just a feeling, I wanted to be able to give you more research because I love this stuff. But I have a feeling that beauty is food for our energetic, spiritual light body. What I love about Kachusama was she would have these friends come to her house, and she'd take out beautiful objects, right? And they would spend time studying and talking about beautiful objects. It's one of my fantasies that I will invite my neighbors to bring their beautiful objects, and I'll take out my beautiful objects. We spend a night on beauty. By yourself. For example, just 2 days ago, I was driving across, was 2 days ago? Yeah, this Sunday. 2 days ago, I was driving from Santa Barbara, where I saw some friends I hadn't seen for 10 years. It was wonderful. And the clouds were, as I came over one hill, the valleys that are so beautiful in California, the sun was shining on all the different buildings way far away from me. And then the dark clouds were there. You know, you've seen things like that. And I just came over that hill and went, like I wanted to drink in the beauty. I think our human reactions tell us what we're doing. So I would not only encourage us to practice Jorei, as we're living in the electric world, but also to nurture ourselves with biophoton food, raw food or quick food from the garden. You should be growing your own food in your backyard. You have a big movement about that because it doesn't take long to pick something and then go eat it. And also, every day, stop for beauty. Sometimes we pass it, oh, that's beautiful, blah, 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 blah. What else is happening? And I'm suggesting that in Shumei, or everyone, not just the Matuas, as an interfaith person, I try to be aware that beauty should stop us in our tracks for at least a few minutes. Let it come into you. Let it feed you. Let it restore you. And Meishu-sama tells us, so I'm saying these three things are part of the evolution of the human body into more of a light body. And then we're going to talk about the integration of our light body and our earth body. And the universal understanding of that. Thank you, Eugene Sensei, for telling me this is universal. I wasn't sure. Izunome. Can everybody say that? Izunome. Okay, we're going to just use this area as our Izunome area, our balance area, our Hodo area, and I believe also our Makoto area, where our spiritual life is integrated and infused in every part of our being. So, everybody gonna be ready for our, ready, set? Okay. Shoujo, Daijo, Izunome. Okay. Shoujo, Daijo, Izunome. Okay, this is something I have not had a chance to share with very many people. But in 2005 and 6, I was funded to do a research project on the culture of peace. And what I did was, I was curious about two things. When did people who were working for a culture of peace, this is all over the world now, I was doing a lot of work with the UN then on peace. And when did they know? They didn't have to know what they were going to do. But when did they know that they were going to do something with their lives to better life on Earth? How old were they? And the second question, because I'm dedicated to intuition, or what Meishu-sama called the instantaneous self, is I wanted to know if they used intuition. And what I'm going to share with you right now was shocking for me. It was a big surprise. So I asked this question: what is your earliest memory of knowing that you would be working for the betterment of life on Earth? Was it between, this was sort of a joke, 0 to 5 years old? Was it between 6 and 10 years old? Was it between 16 and 20 years? Between 21 and 25 years? Or 25 and 30 years? So ask yourself, what do you think? Notice I didn't go up to 70 years, which I think was a mistake, but this would make it faster. So this is the answer that they told me. This one was unbelievable. And there were like 30 people who were pretty famous. By the way, I never finished this study because Mr. Charlson, the man who funded it, asked me to work directly for him. So I have all this in I'm really sad. I want to get this out someday. 15% of people said they had an image before they were 5 years old. They knew that their life had a larger meaning. They had a calling. 48, almost half of them knew something between the ages of 6 and 10. Then 26% knew between the ages of 11 and 15. Only 4% between 16 and 20, probably too busy being teenagers in some ways. But what to me and says to me right now is I am sitting with people that already know they're going to serve the earth. Or have been serving the earth. I'm sitting with you. So, ask yourself, what was the first time I felt like I should be doing something for the betterment of this earth? How old was I? There's a man named Bishop Swing, and I might be going too long here. I'll just tell this real quick story. And he was the founder of United Religions Initiative in San Francisco, which is kind of the UN for religions all over the world. And the story he told is he was 8, and he remembers a sermon. Can you imagine? You remember Eugene's talk when you were 8, if you were even in the room? And basically what the minister had done is shown him, taken him from this moment in his town in West Virginia, back through the history of the earth, back further and back further and back further, down to the beginning of God. When he was 8 years old, he heard that. And when he heard that, he said, I have to do something with God. This is the biggest job on the planet. That's how he thought about it. That's why he became a minister. And had many stories like that. But the main thing I'm saying is, those of you who are young, this is our youth senpai. Yes! Keep going. Be here. So, again, I'm showing this Izunomi slide because I want to say that when we can live like this, we are dynamic and unlimited. Then we have bodies, and these are just some depictions. One is basically a lighted being, male or female, in meditation. This is a Western spiritualized idea of what the body looks like when it's fully developed. A guy named Ledbetter. And here is a really Tibetan Buddhist image. And here's the human being on earth channeling this, every part of the being. And this is one of the great things about Shine, is you move with Izunomi. You change each instrument or each conversation as is needed by the person you're working with. That's our Izunomi. So what I'm saying here is, when we walk with Meisho-sama, we practice these things. We have Hodo, as Ihara Sensei taught me. We have balance. We have Makoto. We don't have to think and work at that. We are that. So, I'm going to go over here. Oh, I'm missing a slide. I don't know how but it doesn't matter. So, we're going to do this again, right? I've got a crew here that's going to help me. And then we're going to add this word, these words in Japanese. Seikaiji. Okay, so we're going to do Shoujo, Daijo, Izunome, Seikaiji. And what does that mean?
World citizens.
We are, right, we are world citizens. Everybody say it now. Seikaiji. Pretty easy. 1, 2, 3. Seikaiji. With voice. Okay, that's our purpose. All right, you ready? Here's our light beings. Shoujo, Daijo, Izunome, Seikaiji. One more time. Whoops. Shoujo, Daijo, Izunome, Seikaiji. We walk out into this earth as new beings. I have special thanks I want to give to Tai Kome, who made a wonderful video. I'm not going to speak during this video. I wish you could all come a little closer. Can you see back there? Can you? Well enough? Okay. All the way back. Yasu, can you see? Yeah, okay. All right. And I hope, is it okay, Tom? Do I have enough time to show it?
Yes.
Okay.
Whole sound.
What?
Sound.
Oh, the sound. Oh, let's see. I hope the sound works. If the sound doesn't work, can I talk over it and explain it a little bit? Okay. Okay, she put this together, and I also need at this moment to thank Tomo, where is he? I'm sorry, I didn't understand that I wouldn't have a instant translation by machine. He just got the translation this morning. I don't know how you've done. Thank you so much. I hope the Japanese people were able to understand them. No, if they understood anything, it's only because of you. Thank you. Okay. Now, all right. How do I get this really super big? Yes, let me have my tech person. So there's just one thing. These are images of nature, including human nature, working as one. Okay, there she is. Oh boy, sure have enjoyed having Ty in the Bay Area. No, you can sit down, but you stay living in the Bay Area. That's all I can say. Okay, wait till it begins. Why? I hit? Why isn't it playing? It is? Okay. Doesn't look like it. Can just a moment, because it's, let me just say a few things. Visually, you're going to see nature working as one, human beings working as one, and it's going to end with February 6, 2018. A huge thing happened on our planet. And that was the capacity to put a rocket up. Okay, Tom. To put a rocket up and send it out to Mars. Did you ever see the pictures of it with a little car on it? A Tesla car on it? But the key was, and to bring the rockets back down to Earth safely, as they cost millions of dollars, and usually they just get exploded and go into the ocean. This is the very first time, and you know what that says? That says that rocket travel may become as common as airplanes. You hear that? Rocket travel, you who are young now, may be flying a rocket to Japan. Instead of going, woo, woo. Okay, we're ready. This is it. Oh, it's going to work. large trees. That is one organism. 80,000 years old, this organism is.
For 3 more players.
Angela Russell wants it at 3 for the rebound.
This is a great basketball player, but it could be a soccer player. He can only do what he can do. His name is Steph Curry because of his team. What happened to the sound? The sound is gone. Yeah. Want to take it out and put it in?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be nice if we had the sound, because this is so beautiful. Well, those are sounds of cheer.
For 3 more
Oh,
players.
there it goes.
Angela Russell wants it at 3 for the rebound. KD will push.
When you have someone in a slump, you want to keep them in a slump. That's why you don't want to give them any opportunities. But Dinwiddie took that away early, that opportunity.
Dinwiddie spending a lot of energy trying to stay with Curry. And Steph for that little push shot for the elbow. Cutting in rolling. Durant, that's a great rotation. KD denied the iron. Curry in motion.
He was still not shooting, but Harris recovered on him.
Yes. Great play by Steph.
It was control.
Get down with the stick. He's doing a little time ready. We could have a problem. Steph trail 3.
This is the space launch.
8, substitution 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Listen to the people who are so thrilled they work together as one to make this happen. Listen to them. This is the most powerful rock.
Has been a success. Look at that crowd.
There they are.
Looking upwards and applauding. There they are. Let's go to Miles O'Brien for applause, who knows all things.
Just 8 minutes later, up left corner. Here they say, go, 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 go.
And that letting Bernie started.
Here they come. So that's our last slide, but you saw that your universe may be very different because those rockets, for the first time, came back. In one big universe, I am very glad I had the privilege of meeting you. Let's say that to each other. In one big universe,
One big universe.
I am glad that I had the privilege of meeting you. Let's finish with our Senkai Gene. Ready? Shoujo, Daijo, Izanome, Senkai Gene.